And what is the use of a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversations? If you're like me, you grew up reading Lewis Carroll's wonderfully imaginative books about Alice and her fanciful flights in Wonderland. And you probably watched the famous Disney rendition of that story. It's one of those things that I think really shaped a lot of people's imaginations and a lot of generations as we all grew up in a world without internet. And for me, the idea of stepping through a mirror or falling down a rabbit hole and discovering a whole new world filled with magical creatures and evil things like the Jabberwocky or the Queen of Hearts was just, it was something that sparked my imagination and inspired me for years to come. And so when I found out that Baba Studios was doing a second edition printing of their Alice Tarot deck, I snagged it up as soon as I could. Hey Tarot Tribe, it's Dustin from A Modern Metaphysic Man, and today I thought we could take a trip down the rabbit hole and check out the Alice Tarot 2nd edition by Baba Studios. As always, in the description box below, you'll find out information about where you can pick up this deck, more information about the artists and creators, as well as links to my own personal social media pages so that you can connect with me. I love hearing from all of you, and a link to my website where you can check out my blogs or even order a personal reading from me if you would like one of those. So be sure to check that out after watching this video. So yeah, let's dive into the Alice Tarot. The deck does come with the option of getting an additional guidebook. The guidebook that you can pick up is absolutely wonderful. It's full color, and it includes both traditional tarot meanings as well as Alice meanings, which is just really clever and really awesome. And it talks about where in the story the card comes from, which is really wonderful. The book does have sort of general information about tarot practices in the beginning with regards to this deck, as well as a handful of spreads, which is just really cool. And then the back has sort of an abridged version of Alice and her stories. So, if you're not familiar with Lewis Carroll's work, you can definitely check that out. So this book it's really well put together. It's immensely and impeccably researched and worth every penny, in my opinion. So definitely check this out if you're picking up the deck, because I would say that this is definitely worth grabbing. The deck itself comes in a really nice sturdy box, as you can hear, and it has some gold gilding on it. The side has this really cute bunny motif that sort of runs around the whole side, which I loved. And then the back says, "This curiously beautiful deck presents 79 illustrations of unforgettable characters of Wonderland. This is the 2nd edition, fully illustrated and based on RWS established tarot meanings. Includes clear instructions booklet with keywords." And then it kind of has the standard copyright information on it, which is cool. And it's a clamshell box, which I love, and the inside is just red, which is wonderful. So it's got, just a plain inside. And it does come with a little white book, and the little white book is great. It's, if you just want the deck and the little white book, you'll get just as much out of this. It does have sort of a little shorter blip on the Alice meanings, as well as like the character that's listed on the card. In the beginning, there's some general information and some spreads, like the Tea Party spread, which I just loved. But yeah, it's a great little white book. The cards themselves are that exceptional Baba Studios cardstock. They are cold foil stamped, which means that the cards themselves have a little bit of a shine, which you can see. And I'm recording this video a little bit darker than I do most of my videos to hopefully try and capture that. So yeah, as we flip through it, hopefully you'll see those glimmers as I flip through the cards. But the backs have this really nice design on them that is shiny and metallic gold, and features the suit symbols from playing cards, which is really cool. The deck itself is not gilded, and that's probably my singular complaint about this deck, to be perfectly honest. For as much as they cost, I'd really love this deck to be gold gilt. It would make it probably the perfect all-time favorite deck in my collection, if that was the case. It does come with a nice little title card, which is lovely. And then, yeah, let's dive into the Alice Tarot. So like I said, the deck is cold foil stamped. So you'll see as I'm flipping through that each card kind of has some shimmer going on to it. So I hope that that picks up as we take a look at the cards. So as always, I'll do a nice little walkthrough of the deck here, and you can hang out and check it out and listen to the music, and we'll come back at the end and talk about the cards and some points that stood out to me. So yeah. So that is the Alice Tarot by Baba Studios. Now, as you can see, that there is a couple versions of the Lover's card, which I just thought was a really cool additional thing that they included within the deck, which I really appreciate. I also want to point out that I love the borders in this deck. Because they're very purposeful, they contain the image. It's like looking through a portal to another world, but I love that in some instances they break out of the border, which is just a really cool thing. I love that the court cards are full of character as much as you know, any other normal deck. Like this Knight of Coins is just, you know, he's the slow and steady knight, right? He's the knight that gets stuff done. Look at him. He's doing some gardening. You know, he's got some nice shoes on, but he's still got his armor, so he's ready. He's been through some stuff, obviously, you know. So it's just really, really, really wonderful. I love that the 10 of coins is the Mad Hatter and his tea party. You know, there's some scenes of the tea party that come up repeatedly. They're all really fitting and perfect for that. Of course, the Queen of Swords has to be the lovely Queen of Hearts, who we all remember from the story as our infamous villain, which is, you know, it's one of those things, right? The Three of Swords I just thought was really perfectly done for this deck and for the story of Alice herself, right? And again, one of the things that I like to drive home about the Three of Swords is that the swords are about our thoughts and our ideas and the things within our head, right? Our ideals, that sort of concept, right? So it's not always about actual heartache, but about, you know, us recognizing that those emotions are happening for a reason and then logically thinking about how to overcome them, which I just think it's important and wonderful. The aces in this deck are absolutely lovely. I love this Ace of Swords, which is at the tea party where you have this pocket watch being opened up and it contains butter, which I just thought was, you know, very clever and very wonderful. The 10 of Cups, which is our happily ever after, is, you know, it's the tea party, which is just perfect, right? That is the 10 of Cups in the Alice story, which I just absolutely loved. You know, the ace, again, the aces are just perfect within this deck. They are just absolutely wonderful. The major arcana cards I simply adore. The World is just wonderful. Of course, the Queen being Judgment, I thought was very, very fitting. I love that we have Alice sort of falling into Wonderland for the moon. I thought that was very fitting. And this has got to be my favorite tower card ever because I think the Humpty Dumpty rhyme, right? Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again, right? But I think about it, when you think about Humpty Dumpty, the idea that this man who's an egg falls off of something, is shattered, and then kind of puts himself back together in the end over and over and over again, right, is what the tower is about, right? It's recognizing that immense change is happening, but you have the power to create something new out of that change, even though that change may be completely out of your control. What you do have control over is what you do after it has occurred. What do you do after the tower moment happens? And I think this speaks to that amazingly, which is just great. I love the death card with the Queen screaming off with her head, like you can just read it. I think the Cheshire Cat as the Hanged Man is perfect, right? Because just the character of the Cheshire Cat and the idea of the Hanged Man of looking at things from different perspectives and being enlightened, I think is absolutely wonderful. The Hierophant being the caterpillar is perfect. The High Priestess being Alice herself and stepping through the looking glass, I just thought was wonderful. And then of course Alice is the Fool, right? She is the Fool on this journey through Wonderland, which I absolutely love. So, you know, the deck is absolutely amazing. The card stock is perfect. There's no other way to describe this card stock other than it's absolutely perfect. I love, and I hope it shows up really well in the video, but I absolutely adore the cold foil stamping. It's really well thought out. It's not overdone. It's not underdone. It's perfect. It's really perfect. It adds such a quality and sort of depth to the cards themselves. Like here in this one, it's just in his eyes, which I absolutely adore. But it brings the cards to life. It brings light into the cards, right? And it gives it just a really awesome quality that you don't see in a lot of other decks, but you do see in the Baba decks, and it's one of the things that I absolutely adore about them. So yeah, that is the Alice Tarot. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you have this one or if you have one of the old editions of the deck. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. As always, definitely make sure you like, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff, and let me know what you would like to see next on my channel. If there are specific decks that you know that are in my collection that I've shown off a few times that you would like me to do reviews on. I love doing, viewer requested walkthroughs and things like that. And yeah, thank you all so much for your continued love and support. It means the world to me. As always, remember, everyone's fighting a battle that you know nothing about. So be kind, always. Bye, everybody.